Hello, Grand Lakers. This is Sam down at the Grand Lake Sports Center, welcoming you to another of our Rodcasts. And this week, I'm going to do it on a little bit about fishing line knowledge, so you'll have some idea of what different lines do. So we have what we call monofilament line, which floats. It's really good for topwater baits, and it's good for all applications really. And it uh, it comes in different colors. You can get the green, you can get the clear, or you can get what we call high vis gold. So it's uh it's an extra limp line, so it's real soft. So for like crappie fishing and light baits that you're trying to throw out there, it's like thread. It's really easy to get distance out of it, and monofilament it floats and it lets your jig float down slowly. So it's a good line for that. It also comes in what we call a clear blue. It's a fluorescent. So for you guys that are catfishing at night, you can put the ultraviolet lights on the side of your boat and the line will glow so you can see it in the water. And that way you know which direction your line's running. So the for a lot of the guys that come in and they're elderly, they can't see very well like me, all right. That high vis gold is easier for us to see to tie. We can tie the knot much easier. So uh, you would think colored line would the fish would see it. Uh, a lot of our customers that fish this gold line catch more fish than the guys that use the clear line. So it doesn't really affect the crappie fishing. And you've got some color in the water anyway. You don't It's not clear like the ocean. And then we got what we step up to a line called stren. So stren, it's got a coating on it, so it doesn't cut as easy as regular monofilament line. It can take a much harder beating, and it's real tough. And there's a little more stretch to it than there is with the trilene, and it's a little forgiving. So for those of you that are drifting, for catfish, if you get hung on the bottom, it's forgiving. If you got time, it'll stretch. You got time to control the boat, control your rod, so it just doesn't yank the rod out of the boat. So there's a lot of advantages to the string, and we sell it up to 100-pound tests. So those of you that are using jug lines, trot lines, it's a real good monofilament line to put on your jugs, and it won't twist up as bad as the braid. Okay, and then we're going to go to what we call fluorocarbon. A fluorocarbon line is 2 to 3 times more expensive. It's a fast sinking line. So bass guys that are throwing deep water baits, it's the line of choice. Another thing about fluorocarbon, it's like a braided nylon. It's woven together, so it's very strong. It doesn't stretch as much as monofilament line. But the main thing about fluorocarbon is it's virtually invisible in the water. And that's what a lot of these tournament guys like. They don't want the fish to be able to see anything but that bait. So it's a very tough line. So they make it in all kinds of different brands. The least expensive that I sell is Vanish, and it's a premier line. It's a good line. If you've got colored line on your rod or your reel, you can put this on there for a lot less money. Or if you've got colored line, you can cut about a 10-foot leader, tie it on the end of your colored line. That way, the end of it's invisible to the fish. So one thing about one thing about fishing line, if you have a spin cast reel, when I take these apart and pull that spool out, when I wind it up, leave about a 16th of an inch from the outside edge. You can't completely fill this type of spool up with this reel. It will get tangled up. You'll have problems with it. It'll get messed up on the inside. It will not work right. So don't try to pack too much line on one of these spools. Um, another line that we have is called braided line. So braided line is no stretch. There's no forgiveness. it'll cut your hands trying to break it loose off the bottom. It's more difficult to tie, especially in the wind, because it's just moving around like that in the wind when you're trying to put this together. So one thing about braided line is if you have a reel that has a smooth spool on it like this, you can't put braid directly onto this. You can put some monofilament on there first, and then go just run one bead across the spool, and then tie line to line to the braid. The braid will not grab this hub. So when you start to go fishing and you start catching a fish and you yank up on it and that line takes off, and you're going to wonder, why is my drag broke? What's going on here? That braid is spinning on the spool. So you have to put the monofilament backing on it in order for it to grab that spool so it won't slip. All right. Another way that we do it is we can take black electrical tape and we'll wrap your spool in that black tape and then tie the braid onto the reel direct. And the black tape will grab and help that line hold that spool so it won't spin on you when you're out there fishing. Okay. A lot of people, when they fill up a spinning reel, well, you need to run it to where people have a tendency to put too much line on their reels and they just end up having nothing but problems. So when you fill this thing up, make sure you leave it about a 32nd to a 16th of an inch from the edge. Otherwise, when you go to try to hook this thing up and pull your line to it's just going to be coming off. You're just going to waste the line because you're going to pull it off and you're going to cut it off and throw it away. So just be careful not to put too much on there. Some of these spinning reels like this comes with a rubber band on the inside of it. So you can tie the braid direct on this without having to put electrical tape or putting monofilament on there first when you put the braid on. Uh, and the same thing with the bait caster. You know, you can put the black tape on there and it'll help keep it from spinning. So, and make sure you adjust your drags on your reels. A lot of people, man, they take this drag and they just crank that thing all the way down. And then they get hung up in the bottom or they catch a big fish and then they end up snapping the bait off or they end up breaking the rod in half. So let the reel do what it's supposed to do. You waited long enough for it. Why do you want it over with? Play the fish out and have fun with it, okay? That's the whole purpose of a drag. A lot of reels have what they call an anti-reverse on them. So to me, I don't like them. I don't think they should ever put it on there. Penn took it off. Fluker did the same thing. So if you flip that switch the wrong way, you can reel that thing backwards and that line is just coming off like this. And that's why a lot of people hate these reels because they've experienced that where they were winding it backwards instead of in the right direction. So you always want to make sure that the switch is in the right position before you get out there and start fishing. So the same thing with a bait caster. A lot of people, when they go to throw a bait caster, they end up backlashing all the time. You've got to tell this reel what you're doing. So you want to tighten that brake up all the way. And then you're going to hit your switch or your thumb bar. And whatever you've got tied on the end of that rod, you're going to back that brake off until that bait that you have starts to drop real slow. Now you just told that reel what to do. That's why tournament guys have so many rods and baits on the front of their boat. They don't want to waste time tying knots. They just want to throw it down and grab the next rod and start fishing. If you're not in the water, you're not going to catch fish. So that's the reason that they do that. They spend the whole night setting all these reels up and telling them what to do. So uh, I hope you learned a little bit about this Rodcast on this line. If you ever have any questions about it, just feel free to call down to the Sports Center at 918-786-2300, and we'll be more than happy to go over it again with you. I carry a huge selection of line, so you can be. Another thing that we do, a lot of people just bring their reels down here to us, and they'll just bring them in, and we'll strip them, we'll clean them, we'll lubricate them, and put fresh line on it. We do it as a service. It doesn't cost much money. It just depends on it can if you're going to be using fluorocarbon and braid. But as far as regular monofilament, It's very inexpensive. It starts at about $6 a reel. And there's no sense in you getting frustrated when you can just let us fix you up and you just go out there and have fun and not worry about it. So please come by the store, see what we have to offer, and I hope everybody has a wonderful day. Thank you.